Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We are doing the Pinwheel Star. Look at this cute little perfection of a quilt block we're going to be making now. You're going to make 3 of these for your Barn Star quilt. I've got 2 of them completed, and they're scattered. Look here. Where's the third? Oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3. All over the front of this Barn Star Sampler. If you're just joining us, we're doing the Barn Star Sampler as our 2024 block of the month. And we are on block 14. Almost there, you guys. More than halfway. So we are making 3 of these little blocks, but you could make just 1 if you wanted to just make it into something else, or if you want to follow along with your own fabric, you can grab the book from homemade.ca or reach out to us and we can help you get the book yourself. And you can go back and watch any of these instructional videos on how to put any of these blocks together. They're going to stay posted in the playlist, so you can watch them anytime. So let's get started. I've got my pieces cut out already. Nothing really to call out on the material or the cutting front. Pretty straightforward little pieces, but note that you do need to cut out enough to make 3 of these blocks, and the cutting instructions are for making 1. So you're going to want to triple the cutting instructions. So once you've got that done, we're going to start by making half square triangles. That's the first thing in making this block. And if you're unsure, I'm going to show you how to make them, but there are instructions on how to make. And if you're new to quilting and thinking like, oh my gosh, I could never do all of that, or I need more, you're a better, sort of visual, not a visual learner, I guess that would be the video, but you need the written instructions. Page 74, 75, 76 of this book explains how to make all of the different units that they use in all of these blocks, including half square triangles, flying geese, the square and the square. So you've got like lots of extra instructions, but that's why you tune in here, so I can do it for you and make all the mistakes and let you guys take the shortcuts. And sometimes you watch me making the mistakes, so you guys can learn the shortcuts. We'll hope it's smooth sailing. Hey, all right. Let's start with the A and B pieces right here, and we'll get to making our half square triangles. All right. So I've got my A and a B piece, and I'm just going to set the rest of them aside. We'll be using those in a minute. So 2 squares actually yield 4 half square triangles. And sometimes that messes with your brain a little bit. So on the back of one of them, I'm just going to do it on the lightest color. We're going to draw a line down the center to make our half square triangles. Line down the center, and then we're going to sew. So line down the center, and then we're going to sew 1/4 of an inch on either side of that line once it's paired up on our second piece. So we're going to take the A piece, right sides together on top of the B piece. And now we've got that diagonal line. And with your 1/4 inch foot, or with whatever foot you're using to measure over 1/4 inch, you want a 1/4 inch seam on this side of the line and a 1/4 inch seam on that side of the line. So I'm using the HP foot here. So I'm going to line the edge of my foot up with that line. Just sew a 1/4 inch line down one side, and you're going to do this to all of your squares at once. So go ahead and draw the lines on all 12 of the backs of your A pieces, and then match them all up right sides together with all 12 of your B pieces. And then you'll sew the left side of the line on all 12, snip them, and then rotate and sew on the other side of the line. Chain piecing this together is going to save you a lot of time rather than making 3 of the same block one at a time. So now I've got lines on either side, or stitch lines on either side of my drawn line. And so now when I cut on top of that, on the drawn line, you're not cutting on the stitches, you're cutting on the line that you drew. this is how you're getting your half square triangles. So those 2 pieces yield 2 of these. I think I said 4 before, sorry. 2 half square triangles. And we're going to press the seams towards the purple, towards the dark. And I'm using my small iron because we're dealing with some small stuff here. And towards the purple. And I'm going to let those sit under my new clappers block. I love that this is going to absorb all of that heat, and those are going to lay nice and flat going forward. While those kind of bake under there, leaving them nice and flat, I'm going to grab my C pieces and my D pieces. And what's going to happen is you're going to draw lines on the back of all of your C pieces, and we're going to construct a unit that looks like this. A little different than what we've been making so far with these sort of like dash lines. But this is how we do it. We're going to start with the lines on the back of our C pieces. So you're not using all of those C's in your half square triangles. Or that was A and B, sorry. Just the same fabric. So got the lines. And then what you're going to do is you're going to lay that down on your D piece, and you're going to sew this time directly on the line, okay? And then trim it. So I've done that. I've done this one already. So once you get it sewn, you're going to trim a 1/4 inch away from the line so that you end up completing the rectangle with the opposite fabric. And then we're going to do the same with the E piece. Draw a line. So it's going to go on this side this time. Draw a line from here to here. So you're going to do all 12 of yours at once. You're going to do all 12 of the C piece first. So you get that unit. And then you're going to do all 12 of this one, the E square. And you're going to sew directly on all 12 of the E squares. Oh, sticker still on. About to sew through it. Good warning, thank you. And again, directly on the line. And then this time we're flipping up. So just make sure you're putting it on, your lines are going in the correct direction. Give it a little test to make sure it's truly making a rectangle here before you do the trimming. And then you'll trim all 12 of yours. Just a 1/4 inch away from the stitches. So if you put the 1/4 inch line on your ruler on top of your stitches, then you'll measure over a 1/4 inch. You can trim that away. And I've been saving these and sewing them as I go to make them into something that remains to be seen. Okay. And then I'm going to press these towards the purple. Let's take a look at how flat this is now. Good, nice, crisp, like that. Okay, let those bake there. Bring these back over. And I'm just going to trim off the dog ears. These need to square up to 2.5 by 2.5. So I've got a little ruler here, and I'm just going to make sure they're 2.5 by 2.5. My 2.5 inch ruler has this diagonal line here. So if I lay it on the diagonal line on my square, then it doesn't really matter what else comes off because it's going to automatically be squared up. So there's one side. What a difference between the two. When you're going to assemble this versus assemble this, even if it was just the dog ears taken off, it really makes a difference to trim them up. Okay, let's do this one. There we go. Okay, now I'll go get my nice and flat. Look how nice and flat that is. Just having them sit under there for that extra second. Okay, let's start assembling the corner units. So in step 3, we kind of need to put the corner blocks together, and then all 4 corners just come together. There's no center of this block. So it's nice and fast to come together. So we'll take the remaining C pieces. Okay. And remember to lay it out, because this is where things can get twisted and funny. So we want to lay it out like it shows right here in the instructions, with that purple side facing down. And then we're going to bring up the rectangular unit to make that shape. And then the same with this side, but sort of opposite. The square is going to go here. The half square triangle is going to go here. See what I mean? So this is why this block is extremely important to lay out. Because if you lay them all out like this, well, you can turn them, but you just want to make sure things are lining up the way they're supposed to. So let's go right sides together. And let's go right sides together. Snip these apart. And we want to make sure we press these before we bring them to the bigger rectangles. And remember, you're going to be doing all of yours at once too. So laying it out is going to be really important. We want to press towards the purple side. So I'll give this a press. And while I figure out this one, let that bake there. And again, I'm pressing towards the purple side. Okay, and then again, lay it out just to make sure everything's getting laid out properly. Okay, right sides together, right sides together. Make sure I'm sewing on the right side here. It can get confusing when you're chain piecing. So just make sure you're sewing on the right side, on the right edge. And this one is here and here. Sew across here. So easy to pull the wrong side over to the needle. Ask me how I know. So many times I've had to redo it. It happens. All right, let's lay this out again. And we are pressing towards the red, actually. Down. Towards the red. I press them. I love this thing. It's expensive, but it's good. There we go. So let's lay out our whole block once you've got all 4 for each block done. So you'll have a total of 12. And let's lay it out again. Remember, opposite points are touching for this block. So cute. Okay, you know what to do. Right sides together, but let's just make sure they each measure 4.5 by 4.5. I'm just going to see if I have a 4.5 inch ruler, like a square ruler. I might not. Oh, I've got a 5.5. Pretty close. Not as good. You can always use a bigger ruler. You just have to line up the 4.5 inch mark. And you can't go all the way around. You can only do 2 sides, but not bad. And I can line that diagonal up with the diagonal in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5. Not bad. Good. Pretty square. These ones are already squared up. So I did them earlier. Okay. That's good. Sorry, my head. And let's line up the half. There we go. Okay, lay it out. Looks good? Looks good. All right, right sides together and right sides together. We're not really nesting anything here, but we do want these points here to kind of match up. So do your best to make sure they are. If you want to put a little pin in, you can. If you find that helps you stay more accurate. And next one. Open it up, lay it out. Even though it's only 4 little blocks, we still want to lay it out. We want to make sure we didn't make a mistake somewhere. Okay, we're pressing towards the top one's going to be towards this side, to the right, and the bottom one towards the left. That way we can nest these seams. Lay that under here while I grab the next one. It's going to go this way. Let it bake for a second. Okay. Even just 10 seconds under there makes it flatter. All right, right sides together. And we're going to nest these seams. So I'm going to butt the left up against the right since they're pressed in opposite directions. Kind of give it a rub between my thumb and my pointer finger here. That way I can feel them locked together. And put a pin right down the middle. And then sew. Here we go. All right, let's press our finished block. Doesn't really matter which way the seam goes here. We're not nesting it quite yet. Let it live under there for a minute. It gets nice and flat. And the trimmed size of this block should be 8.5 by 8.5. So let's just take a look at how we're doing. We have a few little spots we can freshen up. Not too much because we've got points we want to preserve here on the ends. We don't want to be cutting off any points. I'm ready for a new blade, I think. Hey. There we go. I'm going to move over slightly. Just protect the points when you're trimming, that you don't trim off so much that you lose a point or that you would lose it in the next 1/4 inch seam. There we go. That is a pretty much perfect, no such thing, pinwheel star. And you are going to make 3 of these yourself. And I think they could not be cuter. I love them. The pinwheel star. That's block 14. Any questions? Just reach out. But I hope you're keeping up with your Barn Star. These ones are pretty fun and they're quick to come together. So just stay with it, everyone. We're getting there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.